everybody! Ahoy, ahoy, ahoy! Good evening, good evening, good evening. How are we all? Are we all well? Good evening, Mr. Biltong Boob. Hello, Matt Lewis. Hi, Dave. Good evening, Chris. Hello, Pikachu. Hi, Fred Colgan. Hello, Mark. Hi, Big Gay Frog. Hello, Jason. Hello, Philip. Good evening, Paul. Good evening, Robert. Hello, Russell. First time watching a live stream. Ah! I'll do the face with you. The emoji face with you. That's awesome. Hello, Joe and Katrina. I hope we are all well out there and everyone is safe and happy, having a good time. It's Wednesday, which means it's Warhipster streaming night, which means we're going to be doing some hobby, but we're also going to be having a slightly wider conversation tonight. We're going to be talking about social media, mental health, and Warhammer, and how it all kind of fits together, how it works, some of the pitfalls, some of the problems, some things I would like to see change, some things I've struggled with, something you guys have struggled with. We did a mental health stream a couple of months ago now. I want to say it was about 2-3 months ago. And you guys really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed that. It was a great time for me to get stuff off my chest and heal. And I thought we would do another one as a continuation of that, because it's a very important conversation that we all continue to have. And that, you know, I don't think... It was getting more and more conversation in recent times, but it's very, very important, is my view. So that's what we're going to be doing tonight. If anybody objects, I'm sorry. So we should choose some serious music, maybe, because this is a little bit too bouncy, maybe for the vibe, you know. So let's just go for moods. Let's go laid back. Let's lay it back, shall we? And we'll go to something like that one there. Good evening, A to the 40k homeboy. If you liked the stream tonight, do consider leaving a like. And tell your friends. So, the most important question to ask is, how is everyone? Is everyone okay? Since last time we did a sort of mental health catch-up. Because that's the most important thing, if everyone's alright. I've been really good. Like I said at the top of the stream, the last time we did one of these, I felt really, really invigorated afterwards. I felt like I'd shared, and you guys were very, very supportive, which was awesome. And you know, it's what I come to expect from the team, as it were, because you guys are awesome. I've said that several times now already. But, hello, Kataro. Good evening, Hunter SWC. So, yes. Mental health and social media. It's been tricky, because there's been a number of conversations happening in and around my sphere around these exact things. You know, how to kind of exist on social media without it affecting your mental health. And it's very, very hard. Hello, 8-Bit Jesus. How are you? Are you good? That's what we're asking. We're asking everyone if they're all right first, and then we're going to keep going. So if everyone's good, I'm good. I'm happy. Yeah. Now I've been having a lot of conversations actually about it, and it's become quite a prevalent topic because I think that there are some very difficult emotions to process that I don't think we Oh, Biltong Boob, that is very kind of you. Thank you. Anyone who deserves a super chat is you, bud. Been a tough year, so appreciating the stream. That's very, very kind of you. That's very, very kind of you. Well, I'm hope that this year is a better year for you. Yeah, so I think one of the things that is amazing about Warhammer is this massive community that's out there for everyone to enjoy and be a part of and do stuff with. It's something that as a kid, my sphere of kind of reference for Warhammerist was people who went to my school. So this is going back 15 years. So yeah, when I was sort of a teenager, then we had a Warhammer club at school, and we had, a local games workshop, and there was a local computer gaming shop called Scisoft in Nailsworth, where they would do some Warhammer. And that was a really great little haven. But this is what I'm talking about: is they were all little tiny little havens where the sphere of reference and sphere of influence was a very kind of small group of people. There was, I could probably name at a push like 20 people maximum, and that is the amount of people who would see my work, and that is the amount of people whose work I would see, and we would all combine and we would talk about stuff like, what are you doing with your army? How are you painting that? Or what are you going to get next? All that kind of stuff. But it's a really small group, right? So the actual stresses of, getting, better, practicing, learning, and this, that, and stuff. It was actually micro, right? It's a really, really small group of people. So actually the talent level was about the same. And then, like, when one of us learned how to do something, like, and again, we're going back 15 years, right? So this is kind of before we understood what washes and stuff were. So that was when I used to spray stuff black. And then when I was painting, I would, for example, paint the blue over the top and just leave this little black line around the side to add some shade and depth into it. But that was because I didn't understand that shade paints didn't even exist, I don't think. But I think that was back in the days of Devlin Mud. Maybe, or just before that, perhaps. But this is my point: is that there's a really small, tiny little community. So actually, we all carried each other. We all lifted each other up. Like, I knew who I would play. I knew like the way to play. They would learn stuff how to play, and they would teach me how to do stuff, and so on and so forth. Same thing with building, and same thing with painting, and same thing with understanding the lore, right, and reading about all this kind of stuff. I then I did Warhammer up until, I was about 16, 17, 18. So from that kind of 10-year period, I was doing it all day, every day. Well, not all day, every day, but as much as, the attention span of a child of that age actually was able to concentrate on doing Warhammer. And this was it. The internet was a far-flung thing. It wasn't something that I sat on all day and didn't even think to like Google stuff, or to look stuff up on Yahoo Answers or Ask Jeeves or something like that. That just didn't factor in. Like, why would anyone on the internet be talking about Warhammer? The internet is where you learn stuff, or it's where you connect to bite-sized GCSE, right? So the internet just did not factor in. But even at that age, MySpace was just becoming a thing, and Facebook was just becoming a thing, right? It wasn't as prevalent and everyday and ever-present as it is now. And this is where that sense of community is amazing in Warhammer, because it has exploded out, and now from my perspective, my community is, here on YouTube, 15,000 people. And on Instagram, it's 19,000 people. That's nearly 35,000 people. That's my community now. That is a huge glow up. Right? And that's really cool. That is awesome. That is amazing. I am flabbergasted. But for each one of those other people out there, you know, for every person like me who has this amount of people kind of giving them all that kind of loving support, there's a lot of people out there who don't feel that same thing coming back, you see? And that's what we're going to talk about today. Because the idea of community is an amazing thing. But mental health is very difficult when you're faced with this. And so this is what I have been kind of not struggling myself with. It's what I've kind of had this conversation around a lot of things, is that, and with quite a few people, is that, you know, like, you can, if you take that sense of community, that sense of idea, that sense of, you know, like, what I was talking about at the top of this thing, if like me, you're kind of a longer veteran, or, you know, everyone talks about this sense of community and stuff, you will feel the pressure. Social media does this. It creates pressure on us as hobbyists. Paul Naskow, thank you very much for becoming a member. Now, the pressure is entirely built up by ourselves, and trust me, I feel the same thing. That I think some of you may have done. Some people who are, you know, just listening or whatever, or discovering this video, if maybe you're struggling with this idea of pressure on social media, then let's talk about it, because I think it's very important that we create these ideas that we have to be as good as big as proficient as prolific as productive as everyone else. Because we get sucked in to this world, you know. Instagram is absolutely, you know, the exact thing. Twitter is exactly the same thing. It seems to, it almost can't be escaped, this idea that you have to be as good as that guy, because you know, for whatever reason. Mark Watson, thank you so much for the chat, for the super chat. That's very, very kind of you. It's amazing. Thank you. So yeah, the thing that we're talking about today, yeah, like I said, is this idea of pressure, right? And I think it's worth having this conversation and saying out loud that actually there is no pressure. It's entirely built up within your own mind. And I'm saying this as much for myself as I'm saying it for anybody else out there who might need to or want to hear it, or is perhaps feeling that same sort of thing. That, you know, like, you will sit on Instagram, and I try as best as I can on my social media to show you guys everything that I'm doing. I try to, like, not just give you the, you know, this is the highlight reel, you know. We come on these streams and I go, hey, you know, look at this type of thing. And, you know, I go, hey, this is what we're going to be doing next. You know, it's not like I'm going to be doing a Trajan Valorous, you know. I don't just go, not Trajan Valorous, that's Constantin Valdor, fool. I don't just go, boom, complete model. I try not to do that, but quite a lot of the time I feel this pressure on Instagram to show perfection at all times. And, you know, because people, I get loads of engagement. It's all this kind of double-edged sword. I get loads of engagement when people go, man, you're so fast. And I go, right, I've got to keep being really fast. And I go, no, I don't have to do that. And I know this might sound like I'm kind of, you know, spelling it out, or, you know, saying something that might seem obvious, but I would almost say that I think any of us that that is on Instagram or on YouTube, in fact, or on Twitter, you might feel at some point in the future, or you may be already feeling it now, that you are comparing your work to everyone else. And let me tell you, the most important thing about Warhammer, and I said this last week, but the most important thing about Warhammer is just doing it. And that's it. It's not about your perception of quality. It's not about my perception of quality. It's not about your perception of perfection. It's not about my perception of perfection. Because I look at some of my models and I go, oh man, I could have done a much better job of that. And it's insane because I'm like, but I've the job that I've done is to my mind exceptional. And I'm always really happy with the stuff that I get, but then afterwards, it's in that kind of aftershocks, in the afterglow, I have this moment where I go, oh, it's just not good, or I see a mistake and I go, oh no, I've not done it as good as that person over there on Instagram. I'm terrible, and that is a rabbit hole to head down. So I want to talk about how, it's important to remember and bear in mind that social media Warhammer, I should be specific, social media Warhammer isn't about, and it shouldn't be about, followers and likes. It shouldn't be about that. And I know that when myself, I go, hey, this is amazing, I've just hit this milestone of 15,000 YouTube subscribers, that it might seem like if you've not got to that you've somehow failed. And that's my responsibility, is to talk to you guys a lot about how the reason the followers and subscribers are important to me is because it's my job, and I also want to get my stuff out there as much and kind of, grow our community. That's part of my business, is what that is. But actually, the point of me sharing my photos is that I want to share with you what I've done because I'm proud of my work. And I want people to see it and go, I just want people to see that I've done a thing. I'm just like, hey, I've done a thing. I feel good about it. And that's, for me, is what social media is supposed to be about. But I feel like, it's easy to get lost. And so I'm here to talk and say, it ain't about that. It is about just being there and being proud of what you do, and just making the stuff that you guys make and making the stuff that I make, and showing me when you've made stuff following my stuff, because that's really cool. I'll have a quick look at the chat. Hunter SWC, dude, I've been in hobby like 15 years, never been able to finish even one army, having hundreds of grey models because always comparing my work to someone else, and I'm a really shit painter. Well, Hunter, man, you are much better painter than you think you are. Because just the mechanics of putting paint on a model makes you a better painter than anybody who hasn't done that. And it doesn't matter where it goes. In fact, just building the models makes you a great hobbyist, because you've built the models. You're a great hobbyist, and you need to hear that. I need to tell you that, because you're a fantastic hobbyist. If you've been in the hobby for like 15 years, you are an old veteran of the hobby, I would say. You're a long time server. You are a fantastic hobbyist. Good evening, Maverick. I'm gonna go through the chat, and I'm gonna tell all of you. Philip, you are an amazing hobbyist. Thank you for saying that I'm an inspiration. 8-bit Jesus. I don't think it helps when folks give unsolicited criticism, however well intentioned. Yeah, that's fair, and that is one of those difficult things to reconcile, right? I wish that the Instagram, YouTube, all of it, I wish that the algorithms weren't designed to grow based on engagement. Because if they weren't designed to grow on engagement, I would turn comments and I would turn like counts off. Because, you know, it would be so much more comfortable for me. But I do, you know, they're on because I like to engage with you guys. But, yeah, I'm just going to go through the chat. I say this a lot, but Doug over at 2+ Tough shared the idea of 3 foot fabulous. So if you make mistakes, miss bits, etc., it does not matter if it looks good from 3 foot away. You are golden. Well, that's exactly correct. Yeah. Hello, Bolt Rifles. Hello, Northy. As the shaky painter, I've been given a lot of support by other people with disability and mental health issues. The community is so supportive of it all. Yes, I would lend all of my support to you as well, you know, and like this community is fantastic at supporting each other. It really is. Where we kind of part of, you know, where it kind of falls down a little bit is that we put this, we exist through these filters of you know, looking at others, you know, it is that comparison thing again, and it's hard to kind of reconcile that, you know. Am I making sense, or am I just on a ramble? I'm not entirely sure. Just going to keep going back to go. Lady Kane is here. Hello, Lady Kane. It's definitely easy to, Pokachu says, it's definitely easy to pressure yourself and look for negatives instead of the positives. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think, you know, like there is a degree of being able to separate, and this is what something that I've actually run into in the past, where I've seen someone produce what I think is a flawless piece of art, and their caption on it says, "Oh, this is rubbish. There's a number of things that I need to correct on it." And I read that, and my reaction isn't, you know, to kind of message them and go, no, it's not rubbish, it's amazing. My instinct is to look at that picture. My very first reaction instinct is to go, well, if he thinks that's bad, then what does that say about my stuff? That's my first my first instinct is to think that way. My second instinct is to go, that's ridiculous, let's give this guy a boost up. And it's because I am reactive to other people, and I'm like, you could consider it possibly somewhat self-centered, and it is almost to a certain extent, but like my engagement with social media comes from the fact that I'm on there, and so I am looking at other people's work and I'm directly comparing it to mine. And, you know, particularly if we've done the exact same model, you know, and we go, you know, what does that look like? How is this working? Is that good? Is mine better? And that's entirely selfish. But when I'm surrounded by amazing hobbyists, you know, like all of you guys, and I see what you guys are doing, and I go, oh man, I need to get as good as these guys, you know? I'm not sat there going, my first instinct isn't to immediately big everyone else up. My first instinct is to immediately dump on what I do, and that's really bad. Now, I'm getting better at not doing that. What I'm trying to do is become more of an observer and more of a, you know, an encourager rather than, oh my goodness, Fred, thank you so much. I discovered you during that last mental health stream, and let me tell you, something you inspired me to restart painting my models because you were so human at that moment. You taught me not to put myself at the standard of those hyper painters. That is amazing so much. Thank you so much for the 50, buddy. That is incredible. And I am so glad that I could help. Hello, Marty. I was so nervous putting my minis on Instagram when I first did, but all I was met with was good vibes and people excited about the minis. My experience with this side of the hobby has been wonderful. That's awesome, mate. Your stuff is mint. I agree with Mr. ADR Wargaming, otherwise known as 5 Minute 40k, otherwise known as Adam, my lovely friend. That's his actual full name, Adam, my lovely friend. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm what I'm talking about. So, one thing I wanted to do and talk about on this stream tonight was about things that we can do to, you know, improve, but also like a little plan that I wanted to do where I'm at work, so I got to catch up. I will catch up soon. I got to go. I'll catch up soon. See you later, Paul. Thank you very much for dropping by. It's fine as long as you look at better models and see them as inspiration rather than pressure. I can wholeheartedly agree, Dave. You have to sing the full name to the tune of My Lovely Horse from Father Ted. Excellent, ADR man. ADR man? Adam. So one of the, a couple of things I wanted to talk about was, you know, just what we can do if anyone out there is sat thinking, you know, feeling, you know, down about this kind of thing. Sort of little techniques that I've picked up on how to, you know, feel better about, you know, my mental health conditioning when it comes to engaging on social media. The other thing I wanted to float is that I want to do this once a month where we sit and have a mental health seminar and we just sit and talk about our feelings. And I want to know if you guys would like that, because it's very therapeutic for me. And I think it's important that I show you that because, you know, I am human. So I'll tell you one thing that's been bugging me quite a lot, actually, in the last couple of weeks. Actually, since January, is that my I am struggling a little with the enormity of this year. It's January, and I'm struggling with the idea that there's another 11 months of this year. And that comes from, and I think we talked about it last week, you know, that, you know, it's January, and I had these running counters all of last week. Last year. These running counters about how much I'd painted, how many people had joined, how much we were doing, all this kind of thing. And everything was going really, really well. And then in January, it all ticked down to 0. And that has been really tough because last year I was like, I'm just putting the finishing touches on model 498 of the year. And I'm like, hey. This year, it's the 19th of January and I have done 28 models. And I'm like, 28 is not the same as 500. So what I've been doing, and I've been beating myself up, is because I've been basically wiping from my memory all of last year. And that ain't good. I should be continuing on for last year, but no, I like to work in years. I kind of hate it. But I've been struggling in the last couple of weeks with the enormity of what is to come this year. I'm sat thinking, oh my goodness, there is going to be a weekly release. I have commission work. I need to make all these videos. I need to do all of these things. I need to do that. And I'm sat and I'm going, there's 11 months of this. And it's like I'm giving myself pre-burnout. And that's not the case. I'm full of beans. I'm full of energy. I'm like, yeah, let's go. But I'm also sat with this kind of anxiety and trepidation about going further into the year. You know, it's bizarre, I know, but that's where I'm at. That's what I'm really, really struggling with. You know? And you know, my struggles, I understand, are completely different to everybody else's. But, you know, I need to figure out a way to kick this. This kind of sort of hobby anxiety in a way, because, you know, otherwise it's going to get to May and I'm going to be burning out, and I don't want to be doing that, but I know that about myself. Good evening, Flyan. Darkwave. Ooh, I had to join in the stream. As a student counsellor, I deal with mental health cases daily, from things like exam stress all the way to the really bad stuff. This is Aiden from the Airbrush stream. Hello, Aiden. Good evening, Bartosz. Because it might sound like I'm complaining about such a first world problem, and it's not that I kind of sometimes feel like is a barrier for me when talking about, you know, things that are bothering me or that are causing my heart rate to escalate or whatever, is that I am fundamentally causing myself mental distress over a job that lots of people are very envious of, which is that I work for myself, making videos and painting models for a living. And yeah, I'm well aware of that, and it can cause me to worry about sharing such things, because it might be, you know, the fear is that it's like, I'll just shut up. No one cares, man. But I think it's important that I tell you guys this stuff, because, you know, you guys are my community. You guys are my people, and I share everything with you, and I want you all to kind of, you're all my friends, and I like to put myself out there, because I think it's really important. Good evening, Matt. Dave, I wonder whether you need something other than Warhammer. It must be difficult at times when your hobby is also what keeps a roof over your head and food on the table. Yeah, that it is. It can be difficult. I do have other stuff, but this is the life I've chosen, right? So it's just kind of, I have to find ways to cope, and that's what these conversations really help me with, is because you guys are very, very supportive. And I want to be as supportive as I possibly can be for you. So, like I said earlier at the top of the stream, I am reasonably in a good place. I'm not where I was last time, where I was quite down. Kaldorf, thank you so much for the 10. That is, it's a lot. It's amazing. Thank you. Just caught up with the thread. I'd like to say it's been really encouraging to be amongst some awesome talent from people with genuine humility. It is. It is. And I think we foster that here at Warhipster channel. We're here at the Warhipster Towers. And it's very, very important to me that is how this channel is done. Because I want you all to come with me on this journey. And for me, that means that just sharing my painted works and just sharing the stuff that I make is not good enough. That I need to tell you when I'm up and when I'm down. And I'm up at the moment, but I have this niggling anxiety in the back of my head that, you know, that this year is going to be really, really hard. And that is because I know how busy last year was, and that's what I'm trying. And I'm like, I've got to try and beat it. And I'm like, I don't have to. So yeah, what I was mentioning earlier was that I want to do this kind of once a month, and I want to do a specific dedicated kind of chat, as it were. Funds for the train to London and Warham's fund. Oh, thank you so much, Adam. That's very kind of you. I will put that straight in the Trains to Warhammer. Trains to Warhammer and London fund? That's the wrong way around. So I hope that's a good idea. So the other thing I've said is that we talk about is that we're going to try and come up with some little techniques on how to kind of approach this sort of thing. And I've mentioned it already about turning the like counts off on Instagram. I think that is a really good idea if you feel pressure or if you worry that your posts aren't going to be as successful. I have come very close to doing that, and I'm actually considering doing that in the next couple of weeks, because there are times where I will post something and it doesn't do as well as I anticipated that it would do. And to me, that feels like such a kick. But I know it's not because of the work that I've done. I think it's because of the algorithm, or because of when I post it, or whatever. It's nothing to do with me. It's because of the platform. Because I have to have confidence that my talent is what my talent is. And that's very difficult for creative people. So you kind of, when you go, am I talented? That's the question I'm asking myself all of the time. And I have to have the confidence, but also the humility to say yes, but I can always get better. And, taking that first initial step of saying, yes, it is me, I am here, and this is me, is really tough. It gets even tougher if you then lose yourself thinking you're supposed to be someone else. And that is where I get to sometimes. And I wanted to share that. You've learned loads from watching my vids. Thank you, Mikey. That's what I'm aiming for. You would be surprised, Josh, how many people are in the same situation. Natural part of life, or should I say, welcome to the entrepreneur's world. Number one thing is to realize you are not an isolated case. Take it from a psychologist and an entrepreneur. Welcome to the club. I love being in part of this club, Bartosz. Thank you for welcoming me. I find it hard to start painting because I'm a perfectionist. That's a misunderstood term. It's not that I think what I do is perfect, but it's the mismatch of what's in my head to what I can achieve. Yeah, I hear this a lot. It's the idea of being, my perfectionism gets in the way. And yes, that does get misunderstood quite a lot. The idea that, well, I have been mad on some occasions when I see people say, I'm such a perfectionist, and it's a throwaway term for them. It's like when people use the term, oh, that's my OCD, because you don't have OCD and you're not a perfectionist. You're just saying that to try to boost the quality of your thing. And there's a difference between kind of the sincerity and the insincerity, if you know what I mean. I'm not a perfectionist, I know that about myself. Oh, Hunter, love your work, mate. Keep up the great work. Thank you so much for the 10. That's very kind of you. That's what I was saying. Around perfectionism, and this, that, and the other, is that it's hard to insulate yourself from other people's language on social media, because a lot of it kind of becomes throwaway terms, I think, for a lot of people. Like I said, like perfectionism, like OCD, like what was the one I just had on the tip of my tongue? Can't remember. That's pretty bad. Trigger. All those kinds of things. Is they just become these kind of throwaway terms that actually mean something to someone else. And that's really tough, because there are people who are actually struggling. And so, yeah, Philip, I totally get you. Like, the image of what you have in your head might not marry up with what you've done on the table. And there's that hard part to almost not forgive yourself, but to change the image in the head, It's a tricky one. It's a really tricky one. Josh, I can honestly say you are one of the most genuine and talented people I have come across as a YouTube creator. You and the community/family you have created is a beautiful thing. Well, thank you, Mai. That's very kind of you. That's what we're trying here. We're trying to create family. I want you to know that, like, I'm here because I know all of you are there. I think it would be great to do this every month. Thank you for being so brave, sharing your struggles with us. Really appreciate it. It makes us feel more connected to you and part of a community. Good. Good. I'm glad, Joe. I want you to be connected to me. You are connected to me. You're here. You're here. You're watching me. And you're a fantastic hobbyist. We are part of a family. I've lost so many years of painting to that perfectionist goblin part of my brain. I wouldn't even sit down and pick up a brush because I knew I couldn't do what was in my mind. Yeah. I mean, I know that very well from with you, Chris. You know, you have ideas, and then the idea that you have in your head doesn't match up with what you think of your talent. And it's very hard to then go, well, my talent is capable of doing that thing, because I need to change what that thing looks like in my head. You know? Like, you know, sometimes I look through the Golden Demon Compendium and I just want to weep. You know? Yeah. Since Contrast launched and the growth in Battle Ready / 3 Foot Fabulous, acceptance has made it so much easier to just paint stuff and create those pieces of work. I completely agree. I completely agree. I mean, Contrast unlocked a lot of stuff for me. You know, it unlocked a lot of confidence. It unlocked a lot of, you know, desire within me. To push it really far and to do all the kind of great stuff that I do. But yeah. So, I think we're going to do this every month. I think we're going to do these once a month. We just do a little mental health check-in. I'll tell you how I'm feeling. You can tell me how you're feeling, or you don't have to tell me how you're feeling. That is okay. You can just sit and listen, because that's the main thing. I just want you all to know that if you're struggling with anything, then please do send me a message, because if you want to talk, I'm here, and if you want to just listen, or you just want me to rabbit on or whatever, just let me know, because I want to be there for you like you are all there for me. So like I said, I'm in a great place. That might change. And I want to be honest about that every month. That's what I want to do. I definitely enjoyed painting more since I discovered contrast paints via your vids. Great, Maverick. I'm very happy. I'm going to try the 2/3 color speed paint like the spooky AdMech you did to just to loosen up. Oh man, felt that. So yeah, I mean, like, I think I talked in that video, and I think I've spoken about it since, but I did that army for a number of different reasons. One of them was to do exactly that, was to unlock me, to kind of chill out with what I was making, because I wanted something that looked fast, effective, and awesome, and people would look at it and go, wow, that's amazing, how did you do that? And I go, it's actually really simple. It's a couple of dry brushes, a couple of colors, that was it. You know? Having that project did so much for me in terms of my artistry. It was huge. It was so huge. Chris, as he's saying there, he's done something like that as well. It's really liberating, because you can go, oh, I've done this amazing creative project. It's done. Look at that project. I did that. I made that. And that's my thing. And that's really cool. And then you go, great, I've done the creative project. So now, painting stuff to a box art standard, it's tricky, but it feels achievable. Because look at that amazing thing I just did. And that's all, as you can hear me saying, that's all kept within here. That's all within my sphere. You know, that is all, you know, it's not, I'm not looking at everyone else. I'm not comparing it to someone else. You know, I'm unlocking myself through the act of doing. And that's what that AdMech army was all about. I want to do some more videos like that. I've got some, you know, army-sized projects that I can do that are like that. I'm gonna do another one of those, because I'll feel really good about that. Since using contrast, I'm genuinely surprised by the results. It's made me feel more confident painting, and your videos have helped a lot with that. Thank you. You're very welcome, Wiggles Bottom. That is an absolutely outstanding name. I keep meaning to say that. Every time you pop up, though, I've been in the middle of a sentence. You have an incredible YouTube username. Wiggles Bottom. I sense a channel name change! Nah, I'm joking. Can you wait for when you get commissions for the new Azurayani? Well, it's funny you should say that, Mikey's Wargaming. Because, someone's already in there. There you go. It's not new Eldari, that's old Eldari. But it's all part of getting excited for new Eldari, so I've got this to do, which is going to be a Crimson Hunter Exarch. A number of characters, 30 Dire Avengers to do, all of the new stuff that will be coming. I'm very much looking forward to doing it. It's going to be good stuff. And it's all going to come out pretty quickly because, you know... Just to say quickly that I discovered your videos recently, and while I don't paint minis, I very much enjoy watching you paint. That's awesome, Declan. I'm glad you enjoy it. That's an airbrush project just waiting to happen. Yeah, probably. I am a disabled person who also suffers with mental health issues. You inspire me to paint. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I need paints to say what they do what they say on the pot, i.e. rope or leather or stone, etc. You give me an idea there, Marty. Would that be helpful? If I made a contrast paint user's guide, that's a really good user's guide. Yeah. That is an excellent idea. Warhipster paint range. I would love to do a Warhipster paint range that is all just as the same quality as contrast paints. That is just like, this one is warm leather, warm brown leather. This one is yellowy leather. This one is red. This one is like a blood red epic. You know, I do it immediately. Okay. Tastes like Pepsi. I can put the taste in there if you would like. You've given me a great idea. Num 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 num. I would love to make something that will unlock that for you, Marty, and anybody else that you know would like to do. I will do that for you. I will do that for all of you. But yes, yes. One thing I don't, Caldorf. One thing I don't think you realise, Josh, is just how accessible and attainable you've made painting a whole host of models into such a high standard too. Well, I do try. I try to make it as accessible as possible. Russell, I've been watching your video and grabbing inspiration from your style, helping me blast through my gut rippers. Awesome. I need to get 20 more. It reminds me, I need to get 20 more gut rippers. Still waiting on the dices. Well, Fred, funny you should say that. I might be ordering some custom dice to see how they look, and then I might be able to sell some dices somehow. I'll accept 1%. Okay, mate. Excellent. Any thoughts on messing around with the new Army Painter line? Yeah, J-Rod. We're going to do some stuff in it. I've got them right here, actually. Some of them. These are the same ones I did a stream on. High Lord Blue, Holy White. I've got the starter set. I just need to get the rest of the group to do all the content that I've got idea for the army painter range. Bartosz, the number one cause of anxiety for any artist is the self-induced lack of belief in your skill based on what others might think about your work. That one negative among positives can be ruining all the confidence, but the world is not pretty and one needs to realise that you are never going to satisfy everyone's likes and expectations. So just be strong and continue on your route and foster your unique style. All else is just chaff and noise. This is of course in stark contrast to the fact that you need to put food on your plate, and that involves dealing with clients if you have chosen to sell your artistic skills. Just remember to balance how much you bend to clients' wishes that go against your way. End of the day, most artists' stories are rather about posthumous recognition than a from rags to riches tale. That's very, very good. That's all very, very true. Josh, could I use Black Templar over Dark Caliban Green to darken it? You could, yeah. It depends how dark you want it to go, though. Because it will come out very dark. I think I have done that, though, in a video. I'm trying to remember which one. I might have thinned it down a bit. In fact, I'm certain I did it. In the Orc Commandos videos. Check that video. Check that one out, Jason, because I do darken down some Dark Angels green on that one. Oh, Caliban green. It would be the same. It would be pretty much the same. How good are the Army Painter speed paints? You had much time using them. I'm interested in what your thoughts are. The Army Painter speed paints are pretty good. The ones that I've got, I've had a good test with. So like this was a test stream that we did. That's all speed paint, which is really cool. There are some teething issues with them that I need to test across the range before I do kind of a full review of them, and I just need to get hold of the rest of the range. I think my feeling on them is that they're going to be very good for doing exactly what they say on the tip and not a lot else. But that's not a bad thing. It's on the Doomsday Blaster on the Doomstalker. The Doomstalker, eh? Let's have a look at the Doomstalker. Doomsday Blaster. The big Doomsday Blaster. Or the big gun. Yeah, you could use Black Templar to darken it down. I mean, using a bit of Basilicanum Grey will darken it down less. Or if you just thin down that Black Templar to kind of figure out how much it's going to thin it down. You know. As an example, I am painting the House of Virtue for Carnival, and I have several yellow paints from various makers. However, I needed a really light yellow. I could just add to white to lighten the tone. Well, I would say Dawn Yellow. I'd love to see a video on how to paint a Sludge Raker Beast. I would love to make that for you, and I will get around to it as soon as I can. Yeah. Philip's right, you could add a bone colour. Something like Screaming Skull. That's usually quite a good, very pale highlight for yellow. Right. Should we do some hobby? And we'll keep talking, but let's do some hobby, shall we? What would you guys like me to do? Would you like me to paint or would you like me to build? Because we can do one or t'other. But we cannot do both. Because I've got lots of stuff to build. Like an uncomfortable amount of stuff to build. Yeah, I hope this kind of is helpful. I hope this build, please, build. Sing. Okay, we can build some stuff. Shall I build some Eldar or shall I build some Custodes? Build some Gene Stealers. I don't have any Gene Stealers. Oh, Custodes, whenever I ask the... whenever I give you these... whenever I give you these choices, it always comes out as 50-50. Oh, Eldar. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, lots of Custodes. Lots of Custodes. People are saying Custodes. Deldar. Coin flip. Deldar. I don't have any Deldar to build. What do you want to do? Yeah, good point. Good point, Philip. One thing I do want to do, and I am going to make a video on him, as we mentioned him earlier, is Constantin Valdor, and I want to use him as my Trajan proxy. Because this model is amazing, and I want to use it in my games of 40k. Imperial Guard, Necron's command badge. I don't have these things. Okay. So, I'm going to show you something that I'm going to be doing with my Custodes. Which I showed Adam earlier, if he's still here. So, I've built some Wardens. So there's a Warden with a Guardian Spear. And then what I want to do is I want to use these as my unit leaders. So, I've got these regular Custodes. This guy here. And this guy just here as well. So I want to run them like that. So like the Warden is like the Sergeant. And, well, not that you get them, but like the Warden is the Sergeant. And then you get these guys alongside him. Like that. That's what I'm kind of working towards them. So that's where that's what the plan is. So I've built these guys. These are my 3 sergeants, as it were. Kit Bash a new Dante model. Desperately needs one. Well, Maverick. He does desperately need one. But, where is he? Oh, that was going to be so much more dramatic. Ah, there he is. I've just done him. And I'm going to be doing a video on him. Well, I've done a video on him. I just need to edit it. There's Dante. What do you think? So I've just done him. Because I got, like, super sentimental for some resin hammer. I also used one of the TT adapters that we looked at in that review of thingy the other day. Warfactor.eu to make that a 32mm base. It's really effective. Works an absolute treat. So yeah, there's Dante. That's who I've just done. So I've just done him. I've just done the man himself. Lysander. He's awesome. I've just finished Vulcan as well. Vulcan Hestan. Just need to revisit his base a little bit. And I've also done Njal Stormcaller. There he is. In all his glory. Look at how great he is. What shield host are you doing? I'm doing just, you know, gold. Golden guys. How in the shit do you get your Space Wolves Grey to look so good? Space Wolves Grey, I think it's a really nice paint, but you have to think of it not as a full colour. I think it's a really good, highly pigmented wash. So what I've done on him, that is Space Wolves Grey all over, followed by a glaze of Rust Grey. I've done this on all my other Space Wolves videos, But it's just basically it's Space Wolves Grey all over to give you the shadows. So you can see like down there on his foot, just in there. So basically that's where the Dark Space Wolves Grey has landed, and same for like in all of these guys, and this, that, and the other. All of that. That's all Space Wolves Grey that's in all the recesses, and then I use that rust grey glaze over the flat panels to make it look like Space Wolves. Because Space Wolves Grey on its own coming out, it doesn't look like that. It should, but it doesn't. So that's how I do it. Alright, so that's how I think of Space Wolves Grey as it's not as effective at covering, or it's not as strong as something like Blood Angels Red. It just ain't. But it's a really good shade paint. Basically. But yes, Stuart, I'm just doing sort of your general golden custodians. I actually finished some today. So here is a Alarus custodian that I finished today. He's pretty cool. Just got to do his base, as per usual. And this is because. So this one was the tutorial I did. So that's the Custodes, General Adeptus Custodes miniature that I did. And so I finally painted him some friends. There's a whole unit of these just over there, including a shield captain, which is very cool. I'm a big fan. I'm really looking forward to getting into them. And for all you Custodes fans out there, we do have Sisters of Silence video coming your way this week. I finally got it edited today. Cannot wait for the Warhipster Con. I have news about that I can't share. Because I need to write the pack for it. But it is the ball is rolling. Warhipster Con is happening. And to I think Fred it was who asked earlier, dice, as I explained earlier, I am going to be ordering tonight the test dice, and then we're going to have dice for sale. It's happening. It was in fact it was Lady Kane, if she's still here. She showed me the provider and also the dice that were made for her, and they're really good, so I'm gonna use them to do it. You're gonna have your own con. Yeah, we are. We're having an event, Kataro. It's happening later this year. I just need to figure out how I'm going to sell the dice. Probably just going to put a pre-order link up somewhere. Once I've seen them in hand. I'm thinking white pearl with a black logo will look dope. Okay, what are we doing here? Custodes. So yeah, so basically, what we've got is we've got our 3 unit leaders like this. 1, 2, and 3. And so this guy has got his he's got his unit done. So I just need 2 more spear guys. 2 more spear guys here. Any hints on what the next AOS painting video is going to be? I always make sure to look out for them. Wiggles bottom. It might be, if I have time in the coming week, it might be a Black Dragon Stormdrake Guard Knight Draconis. Where in the UK you are doing your Warhipster Con? It will be in London at the Bad Moon Cafe. I saw that you went, Marty. That was really cool. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Warhammer World's always fun. I'm going to be at Warhammer World. If anyone is in the Nottingham area, I'm going to be at Warhammer World the first weekend of February. And I'm going to be there end of April? for Into the Maelstrom. If anyone is going to that event, I will be there. Got a rough date, mate. That's news I can't really share. The tentative date, let me get it up. The tentative date is the 9th of July. So the second weekend of July. That's the tentative date. I don't understand Custodian 2. Are his legs just intact? It cannot be. What is this new devilry? Oh. Because his leg piece doesn't go on until later. Anyone going to the anniversary at Warhammer World? I wanted to go. Your sisters were amazing though, Bartosz. They were like... They were incredible. See, I've gone for like the box art scheme on them. When are you next in London, mate? I was asked this earlier. I don't know. It might not be for a little while. I'm sure I'll be back soon. Well, because Adam just gave me gave me a little super chat for the Train to London fund. I want to try and get back soon for some stuff. I'd like to just come down for Bad Moon for just like a painting day, but obviously that requires me to shift a lot of material. So it just kind of depends on other stuff. I would like to get back though soon, sooner rather than later. Is that the right piece? Yeah, 55. Fifth to the fifth. I like it. Something I wanted to ask you for a while but keep forgetting. Is there any chance in the future we may have some more videos on how to paint Ideneth Deepkin and the army I'm collecting next? I want to do Ideneth Deepkin. I really wanted to pick up the new battle box. I just can't afford it this month, unfortunately. But yeah, I will get you some Ideneth videos. I promise. Yeah, that is quite a long way. Jason. Good evening, Chewy. How are you? We're doing a lot of feelings talk tonight, which is important. Holy Diver. Message retracted. Okay. Holy Diver. I mean, I'm almost certainly going to be at the next Fun and Fluff for sure, Biltong Boo. I try not to miss them because they're so much fun. Thing is, I've done Demons now, and I don't know what I'm going to do next. Well, I might take Custodes to the next one, to be honest. So one of my goals this year is to get 2 40k armies done for me. So, oh, for God's sake, it's another Man United match tonight. What is the score, Chewy? Building my bloodletters as we speak. Will there be virtual tickets for the con for those of us geographically challenged? I'm sure we can work something out. The idea that I've got in my head... 1-0 United. Awesome. So the idea that I've got for the con is to basically run it as a tournament for most of the day, for people to play and experience models, but then for the evening portion is to run that as a painting seminar. Now it might be that we might be able to set up a couple of webcams and stream that remotely for those who want to take part but can't get there. Any chance we'll see any jet bike and or dreadnought guides in the future? Thanks for the great work. Yes, Holy Diver. So jet bikes, yes. I've got some jet bikes on the way. Because what I'm doing is slightly mad, but I dug out my old Custodes army, and I was like, hey guys, I'm a much better painter now than I was 3 years ago. I'm going to redo you. So I shared a picture of them on Instagram saying, I'm going to strip these. And then Hellstorm Mikey, the man himself, got in touch and said, don't strip them, I'll have them, and I'll send you new kits. And I was like, well, that's the best deal I've got. Heard all day. So, yeah, okay. So, what's happened is, I sent him my old army. So, you know, if you go and see his channel, and you see some Custodes, he's got a bit of Warhipster history right there. But I'm just recreating the same army again. A few different touches here and there. But I'm repainting it to a much higher standard that I am now capable of. So that is going to be happening. Accidentally hit send early. That's what the retraction was for. I assumed as much. I saw half your message, Holy Dive, and I was like, "What's it? Okay." Mate, thanks for the kind words, mate. Appreciate it. I will get some more stuff done once I get some more times. Whereabouts are you located on a daily basis? Because I have the impression it was up north UK. No, I'm in Cheltenham. So West Country. West Country, UK. Cheltenham, Gloucestershire. Yeah. Right, are you going to play ball with me tonight, Glue? Or am I going to have to set fire to you? Oh, we're going to play ball straight away. Excellent stuff. HipsterCon Newcastle. I mean, if I can find a good venue, I would like to do one up north. Maybe one up in Nottingham. That would be ideal, wouldn't it? I went to university in Leeds. I always said I would retire there. Because I loved it. Maybe one up in Edinburgh. Do you know what? We talked last week, about part of the Warhipster vision for the future. And that, whilst none of that has changed, one of the things I forgot to add on to that was I would love to, once a week, just visit every kind of city, town, or whatever that has a GW in it, and just go to like a community centre or whatever and set up and just do something there. Whether it's bring a board and play games, or, you know, basically take a travelling club on the road. That's one thing I've always wanted to do, because I think that would be really fun. Just touring the country. And then touring the world! Foldy foal. And foldy foal. There it is. 2 years in the tomb. I haven't been to Newcastle in a very, very, very long time. I'd like to go back. It's a lovely place. What piece am I looking for? 18. Touring the world in 80 days. I just finished watching Around the World in 80 Days with David Tennant, and it was amazing. It was so evocative of Doctor Who. Particularly the last shot of them running in the long coat. I was like, oh, it's just like it was. Oh. The contrast battle bus. Yeah, that's what we need. A battle bus painted in contrast paints. That is then the contrast battle bus that I then take around the country showing people how to use it. Even if they don't want to know how to use it. Hi there, can I talk to you about contrast paint? Who are you and what do you want? I just told you. It'll help you paint all of your minis to an exceptionally high standard if you just let it. I don't have any minis, mister. Boo, boo, boo. Leg. Good evening, Richard. 2-0? Who scored? We're building some custodies, Richard. This was the not the unanimous choice of the chat. It was this or Eldari. This damned blood. Excuse me, sir, can you just take a moment to hear about contrast paints? Where are you go? Don't run away from me. Don't run from the Lord. Oh, this glue, man. This one specifically this evening has not been playing ball. Right, it's going to get burnt now. A Great British Contrast Paint-Off. That's a really good idea. I need a marquee. There we go. The barrel is actually cleared for once. Oh. The Warhipster handshake. What would that be? You don't need a marquee, you can just use Alice's fancy shed. I think there's only about room for like 2 people in there. In the fancy shed. No! My models. Get back here. I can foresee a scenario where myself and someone like Goobertown Hobbies or whatever are standing on either side of a street going, contrast paint, speed paint, contrast paint, speed paint. And then afterwards we go to the pub and have a chat about stuff. Oh, Alice is here. Hello, Alice. There's only 2 people using contrast paint. Yeah. A chat and a Diet Coke. Yeah, well, you know me very well. With 40k and OS, do you have a favourite or do you like both games? I love both games. I love both games, probably not equally. I love Age of Sigmar because I adore the story. I adore the Stormcast. I adore the models. I think the game's fantastic. I like 40k a lot, and I used to like it more than Age of Sigmar. It's probably Age of Sigmar is my favourite at the moment, just because 40k is a little bit tired. He says, building his custodies, but I don't know. Like, I have a very weird relationship with 40k. Like, I love it. I love it. Love it. Love it. I just, you know, there are things about it I would change. Like the game. For example, currently, in its current format, I would change the game. Game's good at the moment, but I would change it. I'd have some kind of bigger shifts narratively happening. People tell me to read the Black Library books. I do read the Black Library books, but until they're in like campaign books or the core book or codexes or whatever, they're kind of not really real, if you see what I mean. Because Black Library and the Warhammer game books, as it were, they are kind of separate. Like, until you see something in a codex, it's not really real, as it were. Oh, I remember these from last time I built a Custodes army. These are annoying. Have you had any time to do more airbrushing? Not yet, Pokechew. I've got ideas on what models to do airbrushing videos specifically on. I'm going to do a lot more practice with them. The first thing to be reformatted, the GW balance team. I don't think it's Games Workshop's fault. I've waxed lyrical about this before, but I think that there is degrees of blame across the board as to why things end up like they do. And I think what happens a lot of the time is people don't play test it properly. So my view is that if you are a playtester of the game and you are also a content creator and you have a responsibility to playtest the game properly. To me, as somebody from the outside, it sometimes feel like the playtest community doesn't do enough to impact it. And I don't mean all of them. I just mean like it's so tough because the balance is very difficult to achieve in the game. But I think that the game is there are things that are just like mind-boggling, and I think some things are so obvious that they should have been picked up in playtest. And then there are some things that are not obvious, and that's because it comes out to the wider community. And the wider community is full of people who look for like missing commas and stuff like that. And it's those types of things that create the slightly weird interactions and things that go wrong with the game sometimes. So it's like the punctuation isn't present here, so we're going to play it that way. And it's like, but it's clearly not meant to be that way, if you see what I mean. So I think Games Workshop, whilst, yeah, I mean, they do make some questionable choices about the power level of stuff. I think the blame also rests with people who playtest it. And then I also think that, you know, the community has a responsibility to enjoy the game as it was intended, not as, you know, not as it's written. I also think that from GW's perspective, like, they've made the game very competitive, and as a consequence, the community has responded to that, and that makes the game feel like it's way out of whack because everyone is playing and running meta armies, no matter, you know, how much we wish that they weren't. Hi, Mitch. Cora's saying about airbrushing soon. Is that with contrast paints? Yes, Mitch, it is. Richard Kemp, playtester and content creator equals chef from Tabletop Tactics. Yeah, so chef does a lot of playtesting. I've literally just been up to Tabletop Tactics and talked to him. He does a lot of playtesting. He is not the only one. He is one of the few of the many that playtests everything. You know? You know, there's a lot of playtesters, and, you know, you'll see, like, they'll get really into one book because it's the army they collect, and then they don't really know a book, or they don't really have an army, and that's not their fault. It's just like you have to have a staggering amount of Warhammer to be able to playtest every army. And like, just reading books is to just go, oh, is that balanced? It doesn't work, you know. Like, games are not beta tested by people just looking at the code, you know? You don't put the game, basically, you don't put the game together and just go, right, let's just read the code. Yeah, it seems good. Ship it. I know it seems like they do that sometimes these days, but there is a whole beta testing phase where people play the game. They put it out to the public to play the game and test the game and all that kind of stuff. That is how it works, you know? You don't, like, build a car and just read the tech sheet and go, yeah, it probably works, and have never done anything with it. And like I said, you have to own a staggering amount of, there's, you know, what, 20 codexes? That's a huge amount of stuff for people to own. It's not anyone's fault, really, that, you know, I just think certain books just don't get playtested as thoroughly as others, you know? Hello, Richard. We're talking about the balance of 9th edition, and about how people are always quick to lay all the blame on Games Workshop and say it's all Games Workshop's fault, but some of that fault has got to rest with the playtest community as well, if they don't spot something, you know? Something immediately obvious. But then, like I'm also saying, is that, like, to playtest the game accurately, you have to playtest everything. And if you don't own everything, you're not going to be able to playtest everything accurately. You're gonna have to do it all based on theory crafting and Funhammer, and like that, you know, that's fine, but like to a certain extent. But like, what if the next Space Marine Codex comes out and everyone goes, you know, Space Marines is actually quite a bad example, but like, based on Drukhari, let's go with Drukhari. Drukhari, a great example. Drukhari book is really, really good, really, really strong. Everybody who started a Drukhari army, mostly people who started a Drukhari army in 8th, the focus was either on homunculus covens or Cabalites, right? Cabals. Because the witches weren't brilliant. They're very good in 9th. But when the Drukhari book was handed over to playtesters, a lot of them would have had to playtest with the models they had at their disposal, which would have been Cabals and homunculus covens. So yeah, I think everyone has a responsibility. You know, I've talked about this before, where I don't like. I get frustrated sometimes when, you know, someone is a playtester of the game and is a content creator, and they put a video about how busted something they've playtested is. And it's like, but you had the power to say something. That is from the outsider's perspective. That's how it feels sometimes. It's like, okay, but you know, you're in a position where you can affect change. That's just me. Well, see, and that's my other side, other kind of side of point of it, Mikey, is that and Rich, is that if Tabletop Tactics, and I know they do because, you know, we talk, but like, they put in a lot of work to make sure that the books are play tested thoroughly. But if you've got like 30 playtesters and you've got one group that says this needs to change and the other 29 groups, or let's say you've got 30 playtesters and 4 of them say this needs to change, but 26 of them go yeah, or just don't have as much meaningful feedback to add. My understanding of how such things work generally, for example in beta testing, is if you are beta testing a game, or if you are a play tester of a game, right? Let's go with that, because that's my frame of reference, because I have done some play testing, right? When it is just you play testing a game, then everything you say will be taken under advisement. If there's like 100 of you play testing the game, or 10 of you play testing the game, what will happen is you will all sit down and you will write down your notes and feedback, and you have to do kind of weird stuff like, you know, like, can you walk into a corner and press jump and crouch at the same time, and does the game crash? It's that kind of thing. If one of you does that and experiences the bugs, but nobody else does that, they kind of go, well, maybe it was just that one bug. It's not a high priority fix, right? If all of you do that and all of you experience the same bug, then they'll go, right, we've got to listen to it. It's got to be fixed. That is a problem with the game, so we need to go back and we need to change it. So if you take that as an idea from 40k, if the Drukhari book goes out to, let's say, 100 play testers, and 10 of them all go, this is busted, all this needs to change, but the other 90 go, yeah, maybe that could change, or maybe that. You're going to look through all the consistent things and pick out what the high priority ones are, maybe that need to be listened to. But you might also just discard like the one if you're going to do it based on formula, which you kind of have to, because you can't just listen to one person's feedback. Because if you listen to one person's feedback, you're going to have to listen to everybody's feedback, and then the book's never going to come out. Because it might be that someone goes, this combination on the succubus is too strong, and another person goes, that combination on the succubus is just fine. It's absolutely fine. And then another person goes, yes, it's fine, but it's not enough points. And then another person goes, no, it's broken, and but it's enough point. Do you see what I mean? Hello, Christian Wagner. As someone who's worked on editor before, there's also all the stuff that you do catch that no one ever sees, but everyone judges you on the stuff that you don't catch. Oh, exactly. There's that part as well. It's impossible to know. What we as a community need to do is you need to forgive GW a little bit more and just be more constructive. And that's where, as I've talked about before with 9th edition, it feels so unconstructive a lot of the time. And keeping it on the theme of mental health, sometimes with 40k, I feel dumb for liking 40k. Because I'm like, hey, I really like the new Custodes book, and then I go onto social media and I see everybody flaming it. And it feels like everybody flaming it, because my frame of reference is I spend a lot of time on the internet. I know that not everybody who collects Custodes is on the internet in that group. But if I go into a group of 1,000 people and I see like 10 comments all in a row, because they get high engagement, because they get a lot of people disagreeing with them, you'll get one comment that's like, oh, I think this is really great, and then you'll get a bunch of people posting, this is really bad. And then it makes you feel like it's really bad. And then you're sat there going, well, I've read the book and I thought it was good. Am I just stupid? And then I'm just like, I shouldn't like this. And it feels like that all the time with 40k. So I love 40k, but... Richard, man. I know. And that I think kind of brings us quite nicely. Yeah, I mean, Age of Sigmar, it has similar problems. I feel like Age of Sigmar though doesn't have the same quite as vicious backlash every time to everything. I think there's a lot more people in Sigmar going, chill out. Now, admittedly, the dragons are too strong, and I think it's right for people to be worried about that. But again, I haven't seen people... Basically, there was a picture... In fact, Chris sent it to me. There was a picture that was shared of this was turn 1, and then this was turn 2 against the dragon army. And the way that the picture was posted was like... It was kind of like a... Ugh, what are you going to do, eh? It was quite funny. You know, it was taken with a good sense of humour. Now, if you did turn 1 against Drukhari, turn 2 against Drukhari, and it's the same thing, like the board is clear. Oh my goodness, you wouldn't be able to post that as a joke. And then it has this pile-on effect where you just go, not in the mood, you know? The sisters bitching was very annoying. Well, yeah, Adam, you and I had a number of conversations when that codex came out of people just being like, rah! And you being like, what? And I know that it was like, you know, you were taking it with such good grace, but we were talking about it, which means it was there, it was present. User's guide for sure. Oh, I see. Yes. Come back begins. Oh, it's 3-1. Oh, yeah. Well, happened the other night, didn't it? 2-0 up. $19 and $21. Adam, man. Your brain is a fascinating, wonderful thing, and I'm privileged to know it. What's a good paint stripper for acrylics on plastic? Well, so I've used methylated spirits. BioStrip 2.0 is good as well. So something that I used to the day was the AK Interactive Paint Stripper. Now, I used it for resin, but my goodness me, it worked an absolute treat. It was very quick. You literally just pour it on and then immediately start going, and it comes right off. Isopropanol, yeah, that's one that I've read. If you're interested in methylated spirits, I actually have some here somewhere. Yeah, so hang on. This is really good on plastic because it doesn't melt it. It brings off your acrylics. Rez, sorry, Mr. Lotbin revising. Such an important topic to speak about. It's nice to see. I defo feel like I've been struggling lately, and it's good to know people talk about it. So yeah, you and I have talked about it, and you said I've been so bad because I haven't done any hobby, and you're not bad at all. That feeling comes from what we were talking about earlier. Comes from the pressure to feel like you have to do it, right? Which you don't, because it's a hobby and it's supposed to be fun. And that pressure comes innately from being on, social media. I find a lot. That's kind of what we were talking about earlier. But it's important to have these conversations so that you know that you're not alone, and that it's okay. Everything's okay, and we're here to help. Always here to help. Never had any joy with methylated spirits. I really liked it. It was better than... Because I used Dettol for ages, and then I was like, nah, this is much better. I think you were asking me earlier, actually, what AOS armies I collect. Currently, it's a sort of Auric War Clans army and Stormcast Eternals and Demons. But I have got Sylvaneth. And I've got Fire Slayers as well to get through, which we will be doing soon. I still maintain the best thing I've done in this hobby is turn fun and fluff into a charity tournament for Mind. That is one of the best things anyone has ever done in this hobby, Rich. The pressure of getting the latest entry to hashtag tail in on time. And there is no pressure there, my friend. Although Sunday is the deadline. Are you planning on doing Skaven? Yes. Yep, I've got a Thanquol and Bone Ripper right there, which I'm going to prime this week. He's looking at me funny. That one's for Kataro if he's still here. I've also got a Warplock Engine Seer, I think is what it's called. Warplock Engineer, not Engine Seer. That also needs to do that one. But yeah, Thanquol's looking right at me. I've repaired him. Is there anything in particular for AOS you would love to see in the future? I'd be really interested to know. Is there anything I would be interested in? It's funny because with Age of Sigmar, I love that I'm always constantly surprised by it. So like Kragnos was a... Oh, excuse me. Kragnos was a big surprise, which was... He was just really cool. It was an awesome model. And, you know, everyone thought it was... what's his name? Kurnoth? No, I've got the name wrong. What's his name? The elf god. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I love being surprised by Age of Sigmar. So there's nothing really in it that I'm like, oh, I want to see it come back. I love seeing all the new stuff that they create. And that for me is the beauty of that game, because I can't predict it at all. 40k, it's like, I'd love more Primarchs, and I'd like this to get a rearrange, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, no. Like, a lot of the time I talk about, like, you know, 40k. I've spoken about this at length before, actually, about how, you know, a lot of people wanted, and still want to this day, they want Primaris Chaos Marines. And I'm like, that's the last thing I would want in Warhammer 40,000. Because, like, have some original ideas, you know. One thing I would really like is a massive expansion of the Dark Oath, the Dark Oath clan. I really like all the little character models and stuff that we've seen so far from them, and I just love to see, like, you know, a kind of sort of everyday chaos war clan, as it were. I think that would be really, really cool. To my mind, there are some ranges that would, you know, a general kind of wide expansion, but at the same time, it's like, I don't really want them to go back and do old ranges again. I love them when they make new stuff, and they make such beautiful new stuff all the time. Like, all the Stormcast redesigns that came out, I could not have guessed that they were going to look like that in a million years. But just like having more new Stormcast, it's like, yeah, I'm always up for more new Stormcast, but like, I was surprised and delighted by all the Thunderstrike stuff. So for me, it's like the cop-out answer for what I would like to see in Age of Sigmar is whatever Games Workshop wants to show me from Age of Sigmar. You know? That's what I would like. I've now realised I was about 20 minutes behind, and so my comments must have made 0 sense. They initially didn't make sense, Adam, and then I realised that you were about 20 minutes behind, and I thought, that'd probably be why. Or that he was meant to be a Beastman thing and GW got it wrong. Yeah. Malarian's faction to come hopefully this year. Yeah, so that's a great example. So whatever happening in Ulgu, is it Ulgu, the Realm of Shadow? Yes, Ulgu. I want to see, and you've actually touched on it right there, Wiggles bottom. I would like to see whatever Malarian is going to look like and whatever his group is going to look like. If you were to say something similar in 40k, people wouldn't be like, oh, I'm really excited to see you know, this thing, they go, I would like a re-release of this. You know? Like, all of the new Eldari stuff that's coming, I'm excited for it. It looks really, really cool. I've been part of the group of people who's just like, I don't want plastic aspect warriors. What I want is a new Eldari range of new stuff we've not seen before. Maybe we could go somewhere with the Ynnari, you know, rather than just those 3 characters and a head swap option. Maybe we could have some Ynnari specific units. That would be awesome. Chaos Space Marines. I would love them to really double down on all of the stuff that we received in Shadow Spear, which they looks like they're going to in that Eldar Chaos box. All those new Chosen, oh, they look great. But I would like new Possessed and all this kind of thing. You know, that's just me. I like new stuff. And Age of Sigmar is where I get new stuff that I've not seen before. And 40k, we get a lot of kind of redesigns and slightly more dynamic characters, which is great. It's fab. Haven't had a new faction in a while. Age of Sigmar, I can't predict it. No idea where it's going to go. No idea what they're going to do or what they're going to make next. And I'm generally surprised and delighted by everything they do in Age of Sigmar. And I'm surprised and delighted by everything in 40k, but at the same time, it's like it's not, for me, when I look at it, it's not particularly groundbreaking, you know? I mean, for me, it's kind of, I mean, a great thing to highlight would be the Tau book that's coming. The new thing that's coming with that is a new Dark Strider. Dark Strider? Yeah. It's a redesign of an old resin model, which, to be fair, needed to happen. But the Tau Empire is a fantastic opportunity for creating Tau auxiliaries, because they can just create whatever they want and just be like, hey, there we go. Tau found this world of these Xenos, and it's all crazy and weird and awesome and magical and amazing. And now they're part of the now part of the Tau Empire, and now you can use them on the tabletop, like Kroot or the Vespid, something like that. But we don't get that, and it does just kind of feel like, come on, it's like it's on the tip of something awesome. What they make is awesome. It's not like a complaint. It's just like, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm saying it right. I'm going to get all coy about it now. I won't financially recover from the Eldari stuff. Adam, man. I'm glad I'm not the one starting an Eldari army. I'm going to be painting an Eldari army for a client who had his previous Eldari army stolen, which is terrible. But I'm helping him out by repainting it. Or a new one, at least. Yeah, that's exactly right. Ugh. World Eaters and Emperor's Children need range expansions with new units. Yeah, so that would be nice. Yeah, Necrons last year were an example of loads of shiny new stuff. Like, that range was, I think it was fundamentally, like, nothing kind of really remained the same, didn't it? Like, I mean, obviously there are stuff that's holdovers, like all the vehicles and stuff, but, like, they had a load of new shiny toys. A lot of stuff was redesigned, and some stuff was, you know, renamed, and then new models were brought for it, and this, that, and the other. Necrons was a great idea. It wasn't just a replasticking of the old stuff, but kept all pretty much the same. Do you know what I mean? It's not just new plastic heavy destroyers. You got the Locust heavy destroyer, and you got the, you know, the Scorpet destroyers, and then the other one, what are they called? Can't remember. How was it stolen? I don't know how it was stolen. He left. I think he stored the army at his local club, and I think there was a break-in, and they just took a case, and they ended up with his Eldar army. I'm not sure if he was the only one it happened to, or if there were a couple of people who it happened to. Eldar Exodites. That's a great idea. I've often thought that there's kind of two different types of Eldar fans, you know? There's the group of Eldar fans that are like, I'd love to see an Exodites range, or I'd love to see like a Ynnari range. And there's the, I just want a plastic version of all the stuff I've got already, so that I can not buy it. Dark Reapers have been a great example of that. The reaction to them has been people kind of going, yeah, it's nice. I've already got 30 though, so I won't be buying these. And it's like, but you've been complaining about them being resin for years. So why did you want plastic versions? So you can go, yeah, there's plastic versions available. I really like these resin ones though. Okay. And that's why I really like the new I can't remember what they're called, but the Scouts on jet bikes. I think they're really cool. Shroud Runners. There you go. You're getting 2 of the Chaos versus Azerayani boxes, are you? You're a man of sophistication and great taste. See, I like the Tau because they, to me, they represented a little spark of noble bright in a grim dark universe. They were naive, they were young, there was hope about them, and you could just see that the journey that they were going to go on was going to be heartbreaking for a race that had some troubles, yes, but ultimately in this universe it was unlike anything that we'd seen, because everything else is hell-bent on genocide, pretty much. Whereas the Tau weren't. And that really spoke to me, because it was like, hey, these are kind of the good guys, in a way. And everyone knows I'm a sucker for the good guys. Or at least the perceived good guys. I have the Space Marines and the Stormcast, after all. Good night, Mark. The reason is Gundam Wing. God damn it. Do you know what, Rez? You should probably pick up a new Tau Combat Patrol, and you should build and paint that to get your hobby mojo back. Maybe that'll do it. Xenos commies. You Xenos commie bastard. Yeah. I'm going to finish building this guy. So we need a Misericordia. And he needs a base because he won't just stand up on his own. Because he's all dynamic and doing his whew. You have a load of Tau anyway. Have you got any left to paint, Rich? You know, last time we were there in Bad Moon Cafe, they had a Storm Surge and they had a Hammerhead gunship in stock. As Adam kept pointing out. Unless you bought them after I left. I hear the new Tau book looks pretty good. I think it's going to be a really, really fun book. It's inspired something in me in a conversation I was having with Chris, actually, about how I build armies. And so I'm going to make a video all about that because he said that what I said was actually quite useful. So I'm going to make that video. I don't really like that there. I might put it on the front. Does it make sense on the front? No, it doesn't. Boo. No, that'll do. Well, this music's quite sexy. Is there an army in AOS you don't have yet that you'd like to collect? Yes, Varangard. A Varangard Slaves to Darkness army led by Archaon himself. That's not going anywhere. There we go. So just one more here and then two here. That will do it. Right, it is 10 past 10. I hope, guys, that this stream was useful. I hope you enjoyed the topics of conversation. And that it was illuminating. I hope that what I said spoke to some of you. And I also want to say thank you for helping me by giving me a space to be able to talk. Because it is 10 past 10 and it is time to end. We've gone on 10 minutes longer than we normally do. That's because I wanted to finish a custodian. But yes, thank you so much for watching. Thank you to everyone, to the new members. Thank you so much for all the super chats. It's very, very generous of you. It honestly means the world to me, and it helps me keep these very expensive, very high energy painting lamps on and keep making content for all of you. And so, yeah, bottom of my heart, it's because of you that I keep going mentally, physically, and monetarily. I'm going to finish there. I've said that twice now, 3 times. Philip, you are awesome. Wiggles Bottom, you are awesome. Adam, you're awesome. Richard Kemp, you are awesome. Everyone is awesome. Everyone is cool when you're part of this team. I love you all. Thank you so much for hanging out. I hope this was useful. I will see you all next week. Same Warhipster time, same Warhipster channel. Happy wargaming, each and every single one of you. Bye!